Tonight we're going to start with a panel of 3 experts. We're going to ask for some input, and later on around 7:30 we'll open the floor up to questions. I'm going to let these gentlemen give you a little bit about their background. We have 3 unique perspectives. On the right-hand side of the table, Robert Lecter, a recent purchaser of a large bulk deal in downtown Miami. Peter Zalewski, the principal broker of Condo Vultures, and Robert Gibbons from CB Richard Ellis. I want to say CBRE, CB Richard Ellis, a broker in the sales side. So we can have 3 unique perspectives. Since Robert Gibbons is on my right, I think I'd like to start with him, ask him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about what he does, what his company represents, a little bit of the perspective from the sales side. Robert?
Sure, thanks, Frank. Can everybody hear me? Yes. I run our multi-housing division here in South Florida for CB Richard Ellis. We're located down here on Brickell Avenue. I'm fortunate to have a very senior team that works with me. We have about 6 or 7 folks on the team. Half of those are brokers and half are kind of support folks. And what we do is primarily we work on transactions in the Tri-County area, but also throughout the state of Florida, and actually have 4 or 5 deals up in the Carolinas right now. And historically, our business has really been institutional quality apartment communities that we sell. But in kind of late 2003, we started selling a lot of conversions or apartment communities for conversion purposes as condominiums. And then when that market kind of turned, 2006, 2007, we started to be involved in reselling the same properties and/or new developments, new construction developments, that end up being what's called fractured condominium projects. So the last one that we closed was for Goldman Sachs Commercial Mortgage. It was downtown Dadeland. We represented Goldman Sachs. It was an REO. And we've done about 15 or 16 of those type of deals. In addition to that, we also do a lot of conventional apartment community sales. And so that's what we do.
Typically, just from my own information, from start to finish, is there a typical cycle time from the time you take a listing until the time you do a deal?
Yeah, I would say so. We, I would say that transaction timeline has elongated in the last 15, 18 months. Typically in the past, it had been as short as 3 or 4 months, but now it's probably, I think more along the lines of 6 to 8 months. And Zach with my team and I just went hard on a deposit this afternoon that we've been working on since August of 2008. So, there's certainly anomalies.
And what is the reason for that increasing lead time, would you say?
Well, I would say, in, again, 2003, 2004, 05, 06, buyers were pressed to perform, in pretty compressed due diligence periods, which started sometimes at the execution of a letter of intent versus a executed contract. And so today, I would say, we're pretty much starting due diligence from the time of an executed contract, and everybody's given pretty much. If it's a note sale, you probably don't have any due diligence, but if it's a kind of a conventional deal, you have 21 to 30 days due diligence, and then closing periods today, especially for conventional deals, where you're seeking financing, it takes more time to close, maybe 60 days to close. Cash deals, those are still fairly compressed. We close cash deals in 15, 20 days after due diligence is up. But there's a lot more preparation involved. We give a little bit more due diligence, and closing times are a little bit longer. And sometimes we're having to go to second, third buyers. So that certainly adds a lot of time. That's probably the most time we have.
Has the Chinese drywall issue risen in your searches? Has it complicated the transactions at all?
We've closed about 17 deals this year, and out of the 17, we have 1 buyer request a representation for Chinese, for not having any Chinese drywall. And we explained to the buyer that property was built in 1988. We weren't importing our drywall from China at that point in time, and so we got through it without having to give that representation. So we've only had it come up once, and well, twice. And on another deal, it just became a due diligence item, and they had to determine it during due diligence. So it really hasn't affected our business.
I say that 17 bulk deals closed in a year is a very impressive record.
Well, let me just back up. It's not 17 bulk deals. Half of those are conventional deals, conventional apartment deals.
Okay, thanks a lot, Robert.